Hey guys, welcome to Disco Part 1, okay? We're going to talk about disco. We need to talk about all of it. We need to start at the beginning. Now, believe it or not, Nazis had something to do with this. You see, in the 30s and the 40s, Paris and the Parisians just had this thing about black American musicians, especially jazz. And a lot of black performers from America would go over there and they would play and they would make a lot of dough. But as we know, the Nazis are all about pure and white. So the first thing that they did when they came in, one of the first things they did, they closed down all the jazz clubs. And, well, people still wanted their jazz, so it went underground. It was no longer performers, musicians, and bands. It was a guy who would bring all of his latest jazz records from America and he'd play them. Okay? Just play the records. These were little seedy underground places where you would go, you know, and you get a stiff drink and you listen to some jazz records. You had to have a password to get into these places. It was kind of like a speakeasy during Prohibition in America. You know, very, very secret society, very underground. And probably sound a little something like this. Now the most famous one, or one of the most famous ones, is a place called La Discothèque, okay? Now, bibliothèque in French means library or book collection, where discothèque would mean record collection. And that's how that name came about. Place to go, instead of playing live music, they're playing records. Discothèque. And we didn't hear that word much in America until 1965 when Chubby Checker did a record called At the Discothèque. But in France, even after the war, and after Germany left and everything kind of got back to normal, discothèque popped up all over the place, and they were above ground now. And you know, it seems that they lost their flavor. They weren't seedy underground places where everybody could go. They were a bit snobbish, and they weren't. They didn't just have. They didn't have the same flavor. This is part 1 of the story of disco, according to Brian. Okay, stay tuned for part 2.